Okay, hey everybody. Brad Linder back at you with another daily card. And we are going to be sharing this over with the page so everyone can play along. It is going to be, obviously, if you're a Game of Thrones fan, you'll know who this is. This is the Night King from Game of Thrones, the White Walkers. And there we go, cool. These be the critters north of the wall. So just kind of get right into this one. Just a little bit. I think I'm going to start off up here on this brow. So if you didn't notice already, I have finished out the Death Dealer based on Frank Frazzetta's character of the same name, which that's what it is. And I went ahead and colored out that background and put in the Hellfire Sky, which was traditional of his stuff. And he either went with this cloudy fire type of stuff or went with a cold, heavy winter. And it was always cool to see that play out, whichever way he went with those when the pieces came out, because it was just nuts. But yep, I did finish that up, and then I started working on this guy because I wanted to do something else today, do something, another original piece, as it were, and start with that one. This is what I came up with, so hope you guys are going to dig it, because that would be a bummer if you didn't. But yeah, let's see. Going in here, drawing in those fleshly divots that go across their face where they've been all drawn up and zombified. So this was a fun one. I really love this series, and I wasn't into it for the longest time, but I got hounded enough by friends to watch it, and then I got hooked in, and it's like, now I've got to wait 19 months for another one. You creeps. So, because they don't exactly produce these on a regular schedule, and being just, you know, I think it's normally 10 to 12 episodes, but now this last couple of seasons it's only been like 7, and they cut them down because they're an hour and 20 minutes an episode to make them longer. So I mean, eventually it's just going to be a 3-hour movie, but that comes out once in a while. I think that's the way they're going to do it, because these things are running really well. But we'll have to wait and see how it comes out, because now they're into a deep part of the story, and we don't know exactly where it's going to go yet, because it doesn't follow the books precisely. And I can't, I don't normally say can't, but in this one case, I can't bring myself to read the books and risk ruining the series for myself. So, and then finding out that it doesn't go, like Harry Potter did for a while, where it just goes in a different realm. And yes, I was hooked on Harry Potter. I love those films. Great books. I'm a reader, so I watched all the films before I read the books just to see what the transitions would be. But I finally got through the last one just a year or so ago, and I'm still not hooked into it like some of my family is. I mean, they can tell you all the characters' names and all the backstories and all that, and like I do with comics. But I'm not that engrossed by it, so it's not something I've followed that heavily. But Game is definitely one of those that I could get hooked into that book series very easily. But I'm going to wait. Because like I said, it's already in season 8 will be the next one. So I'm just like right there, man. chomping at the bit for it. So when it comes out, it'll be to where I can still enjoy it and not be like, that's not in the books. Because I'm one of those people. I'm like, it doesn't go by the book. That drove me crazy when they started changing the origins of the comic book characters to adapt them for film, but they needed to, you know, and it was just something that I was following along with, and it's just like, that wasn't in the books. And then to see instantly how many story arcs come out in the films and play into one movie where they give you bits and pieces of this one and bits and pieces of that one. That stuff just it gets under my crawl because I'm the first one to be in the theater doing that. I don't scream out or anything crazy like that, but I'm the first one to notice most of the time because I'll be sitting there just going, yep, that's that story. Yep, that's that story. Yep, that's that story. You know, Ragnarok did that to me. I did that with Batman versus Superman, and did that really bad with Ragnarok because there's like 20 different stories in there. You know, Planet Hulk plays out in that. Just so many different things. The death story where you know, Thor's sister comes in and whatnot, and spoiler there, by the way. Sorry about that if you haven't read the comic book in, I don't know, 30 years. Sorry. But yeah, it's crazy stuff, man. But this series, I'm like that too, so I would definitely be picking it apart and going crazy. Yep. Nuts. Now I'm keeping this one a little more sketchy. I've got a softer lead in here right now because I was doing some different sketch stuff before. I was doing some layouts and things like that for another set of comic pages for a new script that I just finished up and got ready to go to pencil. And I do my layouts with softer lead so I can get quick stuff in. And I realized I didn't change it. That's the reason we're getting these broad strokes on here. But when I go in and ink it, I'll refine that. Because this one is really sketchy because of that. But that's okay, though. I mean, it's still coming out. It's still making the picture. And we got the character in focus here, so we're good. So we're going to do all right. Now, these guys have the least chapped lips I've ever seen on any character of a human form, but yet they're all frostbitten. Irony at its best right there. You do the math and go figure that one. But anyway, moving on. Go figure that one out. That is crazy. Worst case of frostbite possible, no chapped lips. Figure it out. Excuse my sniffles here. We had a change in weather today. It warmed up yet again. And because it's been cold the last couple of days, my face has decided to revolt against me. Much like Facebook and their autocorrect. Every time I've typed something today, I've had to check it and spell check it and check it again because of the fact that they've turned on me. Every time I type something on my phone, Facebook autocorrect kicks in and gives me a made-up word version of it or nothing remotely close. So it's just been one of those afternoons. I find it highly amusing when it does it because I know it's going to do it once in a while, and it just cracks me up to watch it happen because it's like, Facebook's out to get me today. I did too many lives in one day, so they're trying to get me. They're after me. But anyway, all joking aside, though, I believe it's coming along swimmingly. Now, I did put the amulet or whatever you want to call this thing. I mean, if you wanted to be weird about it, you could call it a brooch. But being armor, I think I'll call it an amulet. good way to go with it. I got it as close as I could based on the information out there, and then on comprehension within my style. So I don't tend to do literal translations on things like this. I didn't do it on Doctor Strange, and I don't unless it's the actual eye, and I tend not to do it on these types of things because what ends up happening is it crosses over into the realm of realism or semi-realism, and I don't want to get that deep into it. I want to keep it light, so I make it match my open style. So I use more of the geometrical shapes to control the overall look rather than just going in and trying to define all that, so it's just the way I do it. It's just how I roll, man. So you can tell it's the afternoon. It's Friday. And I kind of didn't want to, I kind of left it wiggly here, lack of a better term. I kind of left it rugged and raw because I want this to be chipped out like it's weather worn rather than being perfect, because that bothers me that their stuff is in such good condition and being up in such harsh domains and not designed for that. I mean, this is armor of the South where characters were turned, not armor of the North that should be designed for that, and that was something that bothered me about it, was there wasn't enough wear and tear on their stuff. I mean, they look like a fully active civilization, but yet their zombie type of mentality is more of a primitive state as they go along. So, I mean, there's definitely a culture there, but still, they don't seem to have, with all the zombie type followers they have and the way they're made and converted, you would think that there would be more wear and tear on this stuff because it wouldn't be a priority for them to make that happen as much as it tends to. So, I mean, I just think that's a creative thing, and probably the studio artist didn't give that, or gave it to a reason. Maybe, I mean, that's to define what's going on. You know what I mean? So, sorry, I had to adjust my headset. But we won't get the full rendition out of that and the full detail on that until we see more of the series and where these guys play into it. But we'll have to wait and see, especially now with the new season pending out there in limbo somewhere being created. So we just kind of have to hang back and see what happens. And I'm okay with that too. But like I said, a lot of this doesn't match up the same way that you would think it would, especially as detailed as they are with the dragons and the reality and all that for the universe that they live in. You would think that they would have it more refined and down, but that could just be me picking it too, That could just be me picking at it. Hey, Deborah, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Be careful out there going to work. She's headed out the door, and I saw that she's all bundled up, ready to go. So, getting all this done up here. Okay. Now, I'm not going to go all out on this for the detailing for these because I wanted to keep it generalized. And then I'm going to ink black boxes where those pads are supposed to be. And I wanted to do that because of the fact that I wanted to keep it reminiscent of the armor without going all out in here, because I just want to black that off and be done with it and keep it that simple, because I want to keep it a little more abstract for the look of the artwork to follow through. And this thing is really wicked. It is just insanely cool. I would concern myself if I saw this guy and didn't run. Just for the fact that he needs, you got to give this dude a lot of space. And not to mention the fact that I don't want to become a blue-eyed zombie. That'd be freaky. My eyes are already blue. I'd really rather not go all zombie-esque. That could screw with my profile. But just saying. So, okay, cool deal. Now we put a couple of details in here because these guys are all marked up. I'm going to kind of leave that open because they mutated with the ice. Okay, cool deal. Time to do the black inset eyes. At first, these guys kind of reminded me of the old school vampire, Nosferatu. That dude was freaky. That's still one of the scariest vampires ever on film. Just absolutely freaky. I like the way their eyebrows, the crest of their eyebrows go way up, and basically the brow bone, because they don't have any hair on here. This guy doesn't have eyebrows, literal eyebrows. But the way it crests, it has a reptilian look to it. I really like the way that bones out like that. It looks kind of like an old bat, or kind of like a canine, or even reptilian. But more reptilian to me because of the fact that it looks scaly and leathery rather than going, more fur-like or feral. But that's just a personal choice too, whatever works. So I think we've got this guy about done here. So I hope you dig it. This is a pretty quick one. Hey Jim, how you doing, buddy? Thanks for making it on, man. I appreciate it. James, John, Miles is up there. Bart, hey, I appreciate you popping on, man. I gotta give you a call later, buddy. Yeah, this is crazy stuff, man. I'm glad I knocked this one out pretty quick, and I'm gonna leave it open, and I'll ink this bad boy up and color it in the next day or so. I got a couple more to get to before I get to this one, so I'll go on with that. And as always, I'm gonna leave you guys with the same old thing, man. Leave the planet better than the way you got it, and make somebody smile if you can. Try to do something good to spread some happiness. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow with another one. Take care.